Yeah, absolutely. In fact, let's get on board with Ross Cameron as well and get a sense of where things are, headed. Really, Ross, like we've been discussing on our show, nothing seems to be working for the markets. I mean, cities here as well, selectively in India, now getting into a shutdown. Is that the only answer? Just shut trading for a while. Hopefully, when we come back after a month, the world will be a calmer place because just nothing seems to be working. Today as well, Indian markets are headed in for a lock circuit.
Well, unfortunately, I think a month is probably too optimistic. I think, first of all, we have to be prepared that both the direction of the economic crisis arising from this pandemic to be worse than we saw in the 2008 GFC. The difference here, obviously, is that in the 2008 GFC, this was really a banking crisis that mutated into an economic crisis. And the path to recovery was fairly clear in that case. It's a question of bailing out banks, supplying liquidity, cutting interest rates, and fiscal stimulus. I think this time around with the pandemic, the appropriate fiscal action and appropriate monetary action is much less clear. And hence, the duration of the impact is likely to be much longer.
Ross, we've been talking about the impact here globally, given that we're seeing shutdowns across the board. In terms of the economic relief that we've heard, certain governments announce so far, whether it be the Fed, whether it be in certain countries or talk of it, even on the ECB addressing it, has it been enough to assure markets? What are we headed in for this week? Because in terms of concerns around the virus, they of course stay top of mind. The numbers only continue to rise.
Well, what we've seen so far is the market completely unresponsive to interest rate cuts. We've seen now basically all developed market central banks already at the zero interest rate level. That means that there's not much more they can do to stimulate within the realms of conventional monetary policy. It provides a little bit of assistance to the financial system, but I think people here are worried about the real economy. And the final conclusion on the real economy is it's absolutely critical for governments around the world to try and slow the spread of the virus, to avoid an Italy-like situation where healthcare systems are completely overwhelmed. And the only way we can achieve that is really to lock down the economy. And in that environment, monetary policy is relatively ineffectual.
Okay, thanks so much, Ross, for taking the time out and speaking with us today.